As I'm sitting here listening to the birds, there's so many different types of them. We've got mockingbirds and jaybirds and bluebirds and cardinals and little tiny finches. There's ducks that wander up during the day. There's cranes that fly over in the evening. There's so many different types. There's ravens, there's marlins. We even occasionally have the crow that comes up and caw, caw, and starts sounding an alarm on things. And we even have mergansers, I think that's what they call them. They dive down into the lake and swim. So as you're looking at who you're hanging with, if you're always hanging with birds of a feather and you're not looking at anybody that comes either from a different country or has a different philosophy or has different education or different background, then perhaps what's going to happen is then you're going to suffer from what I call groupthink. And groupthink happens to us when we just get used to doing the same old things over and over, and we don't know how to do anything differently. Our hobbies are the same, our recipes are the same, where we want to go is the same, how we respond to situations, whether we embrace them and we work through things in a positive way or we work through things in a not so positive way. All of that comes into our friends, that who we brought into our inner circle in our life. And if you're getting to the point that you're getting a little bit older and you're realizing, you know what, I'm not sure if I have the best friends that are in my inner circle. I'm not sure that I have collected people into my life that are really helping me become the best version of me. Then if that's happening to you, then you are at the awareness stage, and that's a wonderful place to be in your life. Because what's going to happen is then when you get to be older, say you're going to be into your 40s and 50s, you're going to be at the point that then you're going to say, you know what, I want better. I want to be with people that are worthy of my time and devotion. I want to hang out and spend my time and give my energy and give my love to friends that truly are the types of people that share the same qualities with me, that have some of the same beliefs in me, that want the very, very best in me. And those are what I call true friends. And if you're at that point in your life where you're thinking, you know what, I need more true friends. We all can have lots and lots of friends, but if you're at the point you need more true friends, then start thinking about those birds of a feather that you're hanging out with together. Because as wonderful it is that we can all kind of flock together and we can be part of the same society and we can be part of groups. However, it may not serve where you need to go in your life. It may not take you to that next level. It may not let you become all that you can be. And what do I mean? So for example, when I got ready to leave my corporate career, and our daughters were old enough and they were into graduating and they were going into college and moving on with their lives, and so I started the Red Hawk Strategic Solutions. At that point, most of my friends had been from the environment that I was at before, and they were either collected while I was in my current corporate job, or I had met them through relationships that I had met in the business. However, I had very few entrepreneurial friends, which was interesting, right? Because you would think after all those years that I led purchasing operations and projects and strategic planning and all of that I would actually know entrepreneurs, but I did not. Those were an entire group of new friends that I needed in my life. Why? Why would I need that? Because what they did is they brought something into my mind and into my heart that opened up a passion. And I wouldn't be sitting here doing this video with you today if that had not happened. So if I had not reached out and started looking for people that thought differently, that had different interests, that came from different backgrounds and different careers, this would never happen. So the cool part is I'm here today, and I train people on professional networking as one of the services I offer, and that was systemic evolution from me coming from where I was with the friends I had, and many, 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 many of those friends are still my friends as we're moving forward. And the cool part is I have introduced those friends, those birds of a feather, I've introduced those birds of a feather to new flocks of friends, and it's been a wonderful journey. So my point is, when you're looking at who could be a friend to you or who could be a good connection for you, because first we have to start out, we have to know somebody, then we have to like them, okay? Then we get to the trust part. And when we get to the trust part, then we get to the part that then we decide what we want that relationship to be, because we're not always sure if we want the relationship to continue and how we met them, or if we want a bigger relationship, right? So when you're trying to decide what you want with someone and you're kind of feeling that out and you get to the trust phase, that's a perfect opportunity to think, what does this person know about that I don't know about? Because when you start doing that, what you're going to find out is that they may have interest in sailing. They might be interested in golfing. They may have traveled to parts of the world that you've been interested in for a long time, but yet you haven't done anything about it. You might find that they look at life differently. So if you have a situation that's come up, that then you'll say, you know what, I can now consider that differently. So for example, one of my coaching friends, I was working through a social media situation, and she presented an entirely different perspective than I had even thought about as far as the way that people were responding or not responding on social media. So I was thinking that, well, gosh, I haven't heard from these people. Why aren't they picking up the phone and calling, for example? Because I would have loved to have heard from them. And her perspective was, from an introvert side, was, Elizabeth, this is how they're comfortable to be. And she gave me a fresh look at thinking of it differently. So when you collect people in your life, they bring different values to you. They bring different qualities. They bring thoughts, and I call it like pearls of wisdom. They bring things that you need to know, but you didn't know you needed to know. And that's why it's so cool, because if you can just be more open and you can pay attention to all of the different people that you're meeting in your life, because you may not think that you've met quite enough people, but you do. So even if you're just running up to the grocery, I know we've been on lockdown for a long time, but that's changing. But you still have to go to the grocery. Many of us go to church. You're online. Your neighborhood, perhaps maybe you're blessed like I am to live in a wonderful place, and we actually can walk in our neighborhood. And talking to your neighbors. Neighbors are a fantastic source of bringing new people into your world that you normally wouldn't have to know. And you may see them because maybe they're older than you, and you may see them as like, oh, well, what would I possibly have in common with them? They're older than me, or they're younger than me. And it's not, you don't know that until you start having a conversation with them. And when you start having that conversation, that's when you find out that you're like, wow, I had no idea that he was an aviation pilot. I had no idea that she is a master gardener and grew all of her own herbs and has done the restoration for the Elizabeth River, right? And you're living next to these people and you have no clue because you didn't have a dialogue, you didn't have a conversation. Coworkers are another great place. So whether you're an entrepreneur like I am now, or you are working in a business like I used to do, and when I was in corporate, your coworkers are a wonderful, wonderful source for you to get to meet people. And here's the cool part. Statistics now show, research shows us that if you have active friendships at work, it actually makes it happier, and it's longer that you're going to want to stay in that work environment. So employers, if you're hearing this video, you need to make sure that those employees at work, that they actually want to stay because they have good friends there. Because when their good friends work there, they're going to stay there longer. And when you have good friends there, it's not such a dread to go into the office because you're thinking, oh, I can't wait to tell Jim what's going on. I can't wait to tell Sally or Letitia what I learned this weekend. It's like all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is really great. I get to go to work, right? So think about that when you're thinking about birds of a feather. The next time you see a flock go by, there's some that are buzzing by. Take a moment and think, am I in the same birds of a feather group? Am I so locked down that I'm not opening myself up to being aware that possibly I need a few different types of birds of a feather to come in to my world? Because guess what? The cardinals look at things very different than the little chirps do. I mean, it's amazing. Every different tribe that we hang with, we can learn something from. And not only that, it's fun. It is so much more interesting being with groups of people that you can talk about different topics, you can explore different things, you can see their customs. Oh my goodness, that's another great thing. We didn't even talk about that. But that's what the richness of friendships can do if you reach out and you get in a broader way of how you're looking at people. And when I say richness, I'm talking about the parts that fill your soul, that take you to that whole different place. And and also prosperity. There's wonderful things. I mean, money is a form of energy exchange. So when you're hanging out with people that are, not exactly your birds of a feather, say for example, they are from a higher economic group, did you know that research shows that you will actually rise in your prosperity? Seriously, it's true. So if you're at the point that you're thinking, you know what, I'd like to be doing a little bit better, I'd like to be a little bit more comfortable in my life, I would like to live in a place like this or go to travel at places like that, you can have all of that. A lot of it's affected by who you hang with. So pay attention to the people that you're giving your time and your energy to, and really ask yourself, am I staying with the birds of the feather because I'm comfortable, or am I staying here because they're absolutely amazing, wonderful people that are pushing me forward, that want the very best for me in life? Is that why you're staying with them? Or is it because they need you more than you need them? So think about those things, because it's good to be helpful. It's good to help your friends in need. And I'm actually authoring a book on friendship, authentic friendships. And it's very, very good to help friends in need. And I highly advocate that. And I do that all the time with my friends too. However, that cannot be the existence of your friendships. Okay? So did you hear me? So yes, if you're in relationships where you are helping people, that's fantastic. God wants us to help people. We're supposed to love thy neighbor. We're supposed to be good. We're supposed to be givers. And I'm on board with that. However, once again, if you find that you are in relationships where that's all you do, and you give and you give and you give, and you're not feeling anything, you're not getting anything, they're not building you up, they're not encouraging you to pursue your next thing, they're not offering you to say, hey, you should think about doing, they don't see something bigger in you, then that's not where you need to be. So I know that was a lot to cover today, but I wanted to get that out as I was sitting out here and saw these amazing 20-some different types of birds flying by. They can still flock together. However, when they get ready to get on the feeders, they're all together. It's an eclectic variety of all of them that hang out together. Different colors, different shapes, different sizes, different textures. There's some at the top that are feeding because they're smaller. There's ducks and geese that are at the bottom that are picking up the other pieces, and they're all working in harmony. They're all hanging out together, and we can have that with our friendships. Friendships don't have to be people that look exactly like you, that think just like you, that come from your background, and that want the same things. Friendships can be a much higher level for you. They can be in abundance. And what I like to say is bring people into your life, collect those friends that are worthy of your time and devotion. And when you do that, what's going to happen is then it makes you a better friend. It makes you a truer friend. It changes the way that you are capable of having friendships. And that's where the blessing comes in, because that's where all of us can connect better. So I hope this has helped you all today. We're going to continue to do this. This is part of my author series as I'm writing the books. And I just finished the chapter last night on working through alleviating suffering and stressors when we are a real friend. So on true friendship. So that's where we're at. I'm Elizabeth. Thanks for taking this time with us today. And think about the things we talked about today. So look very closely at who's in your life. Look at what the exchange is that you're giving. If it's all one-sided, reevaluate. And that's okay if you want to keep those friends too. That's okay. But what I advocate to you to do is then to open your mind and your heart and ask to have other people brought into your world, and then be aware. When they're brought into your world, be aware. Be aware that they are, oh my, this could be a potential friend. This could be one of those people that Elizabeth was saying to be on the lookout for. Okay? So that's what I want you to do, and we'll talk soon. Thanks and have a blessed day.